Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and we are going to review Redfin's weekly housing market update. And today we're going to review data such as interest rates, mortgage applications, housing demand, touring activity, and things of that nature, just to try to get a better understanding of the trajectory of the housing market, especially because we are going to start entering months where inventory historically goes down. So I'm really doing this video as well, guys, because I don't want you to freak out if you start seeing inventory go down in your metro area. So we're going to dig into a lot of data today, you guys, by reviewing an article from Redfin that's titled Housing Market Update. Sellers lose the upper hand as mortgage rates top 6%. And you guys, I want to remind you, remember the inventory this year was almost 3 times higher than it was in 2019. And remember, we're coming out of the hottest housing market historically in our history. And that didn't end until roughly about, what would you say, April-ish of 2022. So the fact that we got almost 3 times more inventory, active listings than we did in 2019, coming out of a red hot housing market should tell you guys that what the Federal Reserve is doing is working. And here's the thing, you guys, this isn't seasonal. How do I know that? Because the Federal Reserve told us so. That's one reason, plus also the data. But again, the Federal Reserve already told us so. So it's really no question, if this is seasonal or not. Now, remember, I'm not your financial advisor, even if I want to be yours, even though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, and instructor in all things real estate here in Texas. Now, for that bio, you guys, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and shoot me a comment below, especially my core subscribers. You guys, I absolutely love you. I'm trying to add you guys to the moderator list on my channel, because the bots right now completely out of control. Even with the mods that I have, you guys, in my own effort, I still can't handle the bots. They are everywhere. So I apologize. But before I really dig into this video, I want to give a shout out to my man, Johnny I Fly. And the reason I'm giving a shout out to this guy is I want you guys to know he's messing around. The things that he says is a joke. I have some of my, people that I actually really respect. So my subscribers think that he's being real. You guys, his job is to basically say the opposite of what I'm saying. And I actually find it humorous. He spends a lot of effort on this, and I find it creative. So if you guys see Johnny I Fly, understand he's just joking and laugh at his jokes. So understand that if you're reading his comments. Again, you guys, mad respect to you guys. I really appreciate the engagement you guys give to me. I appreciate the emails. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the love, the constructive criticism. I appreciate everything. But right now, let's get started. And you guys, this one is going to be a good one today. I really like the direction that these articles are going, and here's how it goes. High mortgage rates have brought balance to the market, but it comes at a high price for both buyers and sellers. The housing market is becoming more balanced, but at a great cost to both buyers who are footing the bill of high monthly mortgage payments and sellers whose stronghold on the market has slipped away as mortgage rates doubled this year. There was 2.9 months of home supply during the 4 weeks ending September 11th, up from 1 month from a year ago and the highest level since June 2020. Basically, this is a chart showing 3 months of availability on the market. So 3 months of supply. And what I want to show you is basically the entire year up until about June, it's been under 2021 levels. It hasn't been until August that the levels are actually above 2020. So I want you to pay attention to that, because according to this, we have more from a 3-month inventory standpoint. We have more inventory than we did back in 2020. We're exceeding the 3-month inventory supply from 2020, you guys. We're exceeding it now. Look at this chart. We are over. The 2020 line is in gray. 2021 is in blue. So even though, a lot of people are freaking out, we're going into months of decreased inventory, which is correct. We still have more inventory from the month-to-month equation than we haven't since 2020. So in other words, you guys, we have to remember that even though the Federal Reserve is going to crash our market, there are still seasonal trends that are happening in our housing market that are normal. And normally this time of year, we have a reduction of inventory. But again, you guys, It should be like that. Don't lose heart. Don't freak out. It's normal. And again, we already know what's going to happen because the Federal Reserve has told us so. But even if they didn't tell us so, because they didn't tell us so for a very long time, we now have data. We had a comparable bubble or equity surge as our last housing market collapse in half the time. Remember those things, topped with runaway inflation. It seems as though a lot of people don't take those things into consideration when talking about seasonal trends in our housing market. So I find that very biased, but it is what it is. Let's get back to the article right now. Now, you guys try to pay attention here. This is really, really good information as it pertains to supply. Months of supply, which is active listings divided by closed sales, measures how long it would take for the current home supply to be bought up at the current rate of consumption. As people buy fewer homes and listings linger on the market, months of supply climbs and vice versa. Historically, less than 4 months of supply is considered a seller's market. 4 to 6 months is a relatively balanced market, and above 6 months of supply is a buyer's market. At the height of the pandemic home buying frenzy, we were down to 1.8 months of supply, and as recently as May, this measure was well within seller's market territory at 2 months. So again, you guys, 3 months has passed and everything has completely turned upside down. The rapid climb in months of supply shows how quickly sellers lost their grip on the market as mortgage rates shot up to 6%, making homes unaffordable to many buyers. Potential sellers are reluctant to list their homes in this environment, which is why inventory is falling. But it's hard to say which conviction that buyers have a true upper hand either. And here's the thing, inventory is not necessarily falling because sellers are reluctant. It's falling because it always falls this time of year. But it is what it is. Let's continue. Home buyers have more power than they've had since the before times. Unfortunately, it's increasingly hard for buyers to make use of their newfound power thanks to the affordability pressures of rising mortgage rates and the dearth of homes being listed for sale. A true buyer's market would have more homes for sale than our buyers, with a wide variety of homes for sale by style, price, and location. So when a buyer finds the home that matches their preference, they face little competition and can offer under asking with healthy inspections and financing contingencies in place. Today's average buyer is paying less than list price, but they continue to struggle to find the home that meets their criteria and budget. So the reason why it's hard for buyers right now to find their new negotiating power is it's not yet time to purchase, right? It's going to be time to purchase right around the corner, but it's not yet time to purchase. But I also want you guys to understand, typically any supply 3 months and less is usually a seller's market. So right now we have 2.8, which means, you guys, right now it is still in most metro areas a seller's market. But again, remember, except for new build homes. New build homes has 10.9 months of supply, which means new home builders right now, definitely in my opinion, in most metro areas, it is a buyer's market. And we're going to start seeing those numbers from new home builds start shooting up. And I'm really excited about getting this week's report for new home builds. I'm going to show you guys what happened to the new prices of new home builds and the inventory growth and new home builds. That report comes out the end of this week. Now, let's hop into the leading indicators right now and check out where we're at week to week. And here's the exciting news, guys. We have 2 new metro areas. That's right, 2 new metro areas with year-over-year price decline. Take a look. All right, guys, so here's our leading indicators right now. I really love this. Even though Redfin no longer puts how much we're declined for prices, I still really like this data. I love week over week comparisons as well as month over month, year to date, and then sometimes year over year as well. Now, obviously, let's start with the first one. Interest rates rose to 6.02. But remember, you guys, that translates to a half a point to 75 basis points higher than what most people are getting. So right now, rates are probably between 6.5 and 6.75%. Now, the next thing is online searches. Online searches are down 26% year over year. Now, the next thing is demand. This I find surprising. I don't know how accurate this is. This doesn't make sense to me, but according to Redfin, demand is down 11% year over year. Now, touring activity Touring activity is down 22% year over year. Here's what I'm really concerned about. Mortgage applications. Mortgage applications are down a whopping 29%. And that is going to hurt me. That is going to probably hurt the company I work for. That is not good. I definitely see a lot of pain coming in the mortgage sector, unfortunately, but it just means we're going to have to work harder as loan officers and do better. Now, here's what's really interesting, guys. Here's where it says the median home sales price was 371, up 7% year over year. So I went back in the other articles. The high record was 393, 725. So it's down still year over year. Prices are down from peak, $22,000. Now, Redfin, as of 1 week ago, stopped putting that in here. I don't like it. I really admired how they were ahead of the curve on that, but they've now removed that from this report. But what's very interesting, guys, is look at this. Home sales prices fell, and this is year over year decline. So now we have 4 metro areas with year over year decline, which investors hold on to a lot. But home prices fell in San Francisco 8%, you guys, 8% year over year. Okay, that's a huge decline. Oakland fell 1.6%. We've added San Jose has dipped 0.2%, and we've added New Orleans where prices were down 6%. Now that's 4. Now we have 4 metro areas. And if you guys remember, Honolulu, Hawaii was on here about 3 weeks ago. So what I did is I went on Redfin and I went to median home prices for Honolulu, and this is what I found. So as you can see here, the black line is 2022, the orange line is 2021. So Honolulu did dip down, but it actually just went back up. And let me zoom in here, you guys. You can see that it is barely, Honolulu is fixing to make this list again. It is barely above year over year growth. So Honolulu did not make the list, and here's why. It went down and then it went back up, year over year growth. But you guys, what this is showing me is there is a lot more metro areas that are about to make the list of year over year price decline. Honolulu is going to be back on that list here soon, but keep your eye on that year over year price decline spreading throughout our nation. So now what I want to do is let's visualize some of this data. I'm going to bring up 3 charts right now so that we can take a look at affordability, interest rates, and inventory, and how all of that is playing out. Take a look. All right, guys. So here's our sales chart right here. And I'm bringing this up because, this is a median sales price. Look at this. It kind of plateaued here and it appears it's starting to go up. But remember, you guys, and this is as of September. So it appears that the median sales price is going up. But what I view this as, I don't view this as a trend. I view this as rollover from when the Fed pivoted in July. And if you see that, it kind of starts balancing out right here and starts going up. And again, I believe it's from the closings that, possibly went under contract in July. They haven't closed yet. But regardless, you guys, I don't see this as a trend. I don't see prices going up. I just see this as overflow. And the reality is that, unfortunately, a whole bunch of people went back to buy houses in July. So a whole bunch of people just bought at near the peak. Okay. So that's very, very bad in my opinion. Let's look at the next chart. And this is the mortgage payment chart. So it's going into unaffordability. So mortgage payments, y'all, are up year over year, 42.5%. Now, if you look here, they actually, like I said, the payments started going down in July. Look at this. It started going down in July, but look, it's skyrocketed back up. And this is what I'm saying is the whiplashing the Federal Reserve is doing. I believe, again, it's skyrocketing upward because the Federal Reserve had to do it. I think this pocket right here is a massive mistake. And I believe it's possible that they pivoted a little bit in July to make the housing market look better than it actually is. Maybe it's because of midterms. I don't know. Maybe they did that because of midterms, but I don't believe for 1 second that the Federal Reserve, it wasn't smart enough to stop that from happening. They could have done a ton of things to keep rates higher, raise the federal funds rate, had another emergency meeting, sold mortgage-backed securities, but they let the rates go down. The emotion was still in the market. People started buying overpriced houses again, and it took us a couple steps back. So again, what that means is this housing market is really heavily dependent on affordability and interest rates, obviously. Now, going back to the charts, here's the home buyer demand chart. And I just want to show you guys again, here's where demand kind of started going up. Do you see that? So here's July, here was the pivot. And ever since that pivot, look at how demand has actually trended upward. Now, again, this is a huge problem. I see this trend as an emotional trend. Why would you buy at the peak? That doesn't make sense to me. At higher interest rates, that's just not a good move if you can prevent it. But again, you guys, demand is slightly higher than 2020, but it's under 2021. And I suspect it's going to, by October, I would say by the end of October, it's going to be under 2020 levels of demand. I'm almost positive of that. That may even happen in September, but keep your eyes on demand. It's only a matter of time before demand is under 2020 levels. Now, I want to end this video with 3 points that I want to bring to your attention. Now, number one, our housing market is clearly being controlled by interest rates and unaffordability. So if the Fed pivots too soon, that can be a massive mistake. So keep your eye on the Federal Reserve. Now, number two, remember this time of year, normally inventory starts going down, but that doesn't mean what the Federal Reserve is doing isn't working. It just means those are the months that we're going into this year. Because remember, you guys, remember where we came from. Remember that we had almost 3 times the active inventory increase that we did in 2019, which was roughly about 160,000 new active listings coming to the market from trough to peak. So again, this year we had over 400,000, and we're coming out of a red hot housing market. So imagine for a second here, what's going to happen in 2023? What's going to happen? Now, number three, and this may be the most important thing of all. As we go into the months where inventory may start declining, it's really important that you don't lose control of your emotions. Continue to calm yourself down. Continue to be logical about what's happening. Remember, we have runaway inflation. Remember, we had a massive bubble formed in 2 years. Remember all the stimulus. And remember what the Federal Reserve said they're going to do. All right, guys, now that's where I'm going to end today. And I really, really hope you guys got some value from this video today. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I wish you luck and I hope you win.